Welcome back to Natural English Lab. I am Maya, and today we are talking about something almost everyone understands. Work. Not one specific job, not one specific country, and not one specific company. Just everyday work life.
And I am Daniel. This episode is about common situations at work, starting the day, talking to coworkers, joining meetings, handling pressure, asking for help, and thinking about your career.
We will keep the conversation natural, but clear. So if you are learning English, listen for useful phrases you can actually use in a workplace conversation.
Exactly. You do not need to work in an office to understand this episode. The ideas also apply to remote work, service work, creative work, technical work, and even freelance work.
Let us begin with the first part of the workday. For many people, the workday does not really start when they open their laptop or arrive at the building. It starts earlier, when they look at their schedule and think, what kind of day is this going to be?
That is true. A good morning routine can make a big difference. Some people check messages immediately. Some people make coffee first. Some people write a short list of the three most important tasks.
I like the three-task idea because a workday can become messy very quickly. If you have 10 things in your mind, you may feel busy but not focused.
A useful phrase here is, what should I prioritize today? Prioritize means decide what is most important. You can ask yourself, what should I prioritize today? Or you can ask your manager, which task should I prioritize?
Another natural phrase is, let me get organized first. If someone asks you for something early in the morning, you can say, sure, let me get organized first, and I will get back to you.
That sounds polite and professional. It tells the other person you heard them, but you need a moment to understand your day.
Work is not only about doing tasks, it is also about managing attention. If your attention is everywhere, even simple tasks can feel heavy.
Let us talk about coworkers. A lot of work happens through small conversations. A quick message, a short question, or a 5-minute check-in can save hours of confusion.
Yes, but communication at work can be tricky because people are busy. You want to be friendly, but also clear. You want to ask for help, but not create extra pressure.
A simple structure helps. First, give context. Second, ask the question. Third, say what you need. For example, I am working on the client summary. I am not sure which numbers to include. Could you point me to the latest report?
That is much better than just saying, I need help. When you give context, people can answer faster.
Another useful phrase is just to clarify. You can say, just to clarify, do we need this today or tomorrow? Or, just to clarify, should I send this to the whole team?
I use that phrase all the time. It is polite, and it prevents mistakes. Sometimes people are afraid to ask questions because they think it makes them look unprepared. But good questions often make you look responsible.
There is also the phrase, I want to make sure I understand. That is very useful when someone explains something complicated. You can say, I want to make sure I understand. Are you saying we should change the deadline?
Good workplace communication is not about using fancy English. It is about reducing confusion. Now we have to talk about meetings. Some meetings are useful. Some meetings feel too long. But meetings are part of work life, so it helps to know how to participate.
A meeting is easier when you know your role. Are you there to give an update? Are you there to make a decision? Are you there to listen and learn?
If you need to give an update, keep it simple. You can use this pattern. Here is what is done, here is what is still in progress, and here is what I need.
For example, the draft is done. The design review is still in progress. I need feedback by Thursday. That is clear and useful.
If you disagree in a meeting, you do not have to sound aggressive. You can say, I see your point, but I have a concern. Or, that could work, but we may need more time.
Those phrases are helpful because they respect the other person while still giving your opinion.
Another important phrase is, can we define the next step? Meetings often end with a lot of talking but no clear action. If you ask, can we define the next step? You help the group move forward.
And at the end, you can confirm ownership. Who is doing what? By when? That is the difference between a conversation and a plan.
Work can be stressful. Sometimes the deadline is close. Sometimes the task is unclear. Sometimes you have too many messages and not enough time to think.
One thing I have learned is that pressure becomes worse when everything stays inside your head. If you are overloaded, you need to make the situation visible.
That is a good point. You can say, I have 3 urgent tasks right now. Can we decide which one comes first? That is better than silently trying to do everything.
Another useful sentence is, I can do this, but I may need more time. It is honest. It does not sound like an excuse. It sounds like planning.
And if you are blocked, say it early. I am blocked because I am waiting for the file. Or, I am blocked because I need approval. People cannot help with a problem they cannot see.
Some people wait too long because they do not want to bother anyone. But in most teams, early communication is much better than a late surprise.
Also, rest matters. A short break can help your brain reset. You are not a machine. Good work needs energy, not only time.
That is important. Being professional does not mean ignoring your limits. It means understanding your limits and communicating clearly.
Let us move to feedback. Feedback can feel uncomfortable, but it is one of the fastest ways to improve at work.
There are two sides, giving feedback and receiving feedback. Both require care.
When receiving feedback, a useful phrase is, thanks, let me think about that. You do not have to respond immediately to every comment. You can take a moment.
Another phrase is, can you give me an example? That helps turn general feedback into something practical. If someone says your report needs to be clearer, you can ask, can you give me an example of a section that was confusing?
When giving feedback, focus on behavior, not personality. Instead of saying, you are disorganized, say, the last update was missing the deadline and the owner. Can we include those next time?
That is much easier to hear. It points to a specific change.
Good feedback should help the work improve. It should not make people feel small.
And good teams build trust by making feedback normal, not dramatic.
Finally, let us talk about career growth. Growth does not always mean getting a promotion immediately. Sometimes growth means learning a tool, leading a small project, speaking more clearly, or becoming more reliable.
I agree. One useful question is, what skill would make my work easier 6 months from now? That question helps you think beyond today's tasks.
Another good question is, what kind of work gives me energy? Some tasks drain you. Some tasks challenge you in a good way. Paying attention to that can help you understand your direction.
It is also useful to collect small wins. A small win could be finishing a difficult task, improving a process, helping a teammate, or explaining an idea clearly.
Small wins matter because confidence grows from evidence. You do not just tell yourself, I am improving. You can point to something real and say, I handled that better than before.
A simple career phrase is, I would like to take on more responsibility. You can say that to a manager when you are ready for a new challenge.
And you can be specific. I would like to take on more responsibility in planning, client communication, training, or technical decisions.
Growth is easier when people understand what you want.
So today we talked about general work life. Starting the day, communicating with coworkers, joining meetings, handling pressure, receiving feedback, and thinking about growth.
The main idea is simple. Work becomes easier when you communicate clearly. Clear priorities, clear questions, clear updates, and clear next steps.
And for English learners, remember that workplace English does not need to be complicated. Phrases like, just to clarify, I want to make sure I understand, what should I prioritize, and can we define the next step, are already very useful.
Try choosing 3 phrases from this episode and using them in your next conversation, message, or practice session.
Thanks for listening to Natural English Lab. I am Maya.
And I am Daniel. See you in the next episode.